Hello, Aquarius, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for being here today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of December 13th. The week of December 7th through the 13th. And during that time, we'll have a waning gibbous moon. And that's a really good time of self-reflection and rebirth, a good time to make positive changes and really get rid of bad habits and negative thinking. So keep that in mind. We then move into the last quarter moon on the 13th. And that is a really good time for reflection, releasing what no longer serves us, and really starting to think about things that we might make adjustments on when the next cycle rolls around, trying to just get to a place where we have a clear vision of how we want to move into the next cycle and make changes there. So keep those moon energies in mind as we move through the week. This will be an intuitive general reading for energies that you may or may not encounter, Aquarius. So as always, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't on the table for someone else. And your overall message for this reading is, what do you need to release? Which goes, of course, right along with that waning. That's the waning moon card. So right in with that. And that's not, I think I've seen that card a couple of times already. So sometimes these overall cards really do go in with the moon energy that we're dealing with. So what is it that you need to release, Aquarius? So we'll be thinking about that and looking for it through this reading. My fun weekly reminder, Aquarius, is that you take time this week to meditate. So try to still your mind and body and go within and just explore. So if that's something that you already do, then you know what I'm talking about. If meditation is not something that you practice, it's a good time this week to maybe try to start working that into your routine. If not daily, at least every other day or so. But that is my fun weekly reminder for you. All right, let's get into this reading. Aquarius, December 7th through the 13th. What is it that you need to release? King of Wands is your present energy. So there's something that you're very passionate about and you're very knowledgeable about it. It's something that really drives you. And it's just, you're sitting in this energy of just really being focused on that thing at this time. Your current situation is the High Priestess. So not only are you kind of just really distracted by this thing that you're very passionate about that really drives you, but you're also paying attention to and you have access to, things like intuition, synchronicities, things that might come about in a more mysterious way, that you're meeting people and things are just kind of falling into, um, kind of, I'm raising a brow. Have you ever have things happen and you're just like, I can't believe that happened. How synchronistic and how perfect, because I needed to meet this person to make this thing, so you're kind of in that energy where like things are happening and you're not even sure why, but you're okay with it, but you're kind of observing it and going, wow, I can't believe that happened. And how awesome that happened in that manner, right? At the root of your situation is the World card. So it looks like this is the end of the major arcana. If we're going through like the entire fool's journey, this World card is a perfect balance card. It's when things all is right with the world, right? And that's at the root of where you are right now. It may have taken you some time to get there, but and there's been some synchronicities and things happen that maybe it didn't even make sense at the time, but you're kind of thinking, oh, I'm so glad that happened because look where I'm at now. I'm very balanced and things are working out right now. So, that might have been something here in your recent past, which we will look at right now. Recent past is the Four of Wands, which is, indicative of some sort of celebration or some sort of gathering of some sort. So there might have been something in your past, like I said, where you met a person, at this gathering and it's kind of worked out for something that you're very passionate about. This could be your job. This could be something that's not even your job, something you just love to do, something that lights your fire. But there was something that maybe, again, you've met someone that had some positive impact on this thing that you're very passionate about, and it was just very synchronistic. So you're feeling very balanced about that. I love how that's playing out for you. What is on your mind this week is the Queen of Pentacles. So here you are with this King of Wands, which is really about knowledge and just really anytime you're dealing with royalty, I feel like it's not only the thing that you know, but it's the thing that you recognize in people around you in your kingdom, right? So you're able to recognize people around you and their passions and what drive them, but also, on your mind is kind of learning how to understand the material world. This could be, understanding when it comes to things like money or the place where you live or your um and kind of how to just manage all of that. So you're in a place of doing that, like things are okay there. You kind of understand the flow of your life at the moment. That flow always changes. We even though you might jobs kind of come and go, life changes, money flow changes. I always think of money like a river. Sometimes that river's wide and flowing, sometimes it's a little more narrow, but you have a good understanding of kind of where you are in the world right now, in the material world, and what you need to do to get along day by day. What is just ahead of you is some sort of ending, some sort of push through here, and it comes through in the suit of wands. So something that you are kind of passionate about, that maybe you're pushing something out of the way to make room for something else. Okay. So and again, I feel like, did you meet someone that had something to do with all of this and with these changes, because you're feeling very balanced about it. So I don't see this as I see this as kind of just a normal pushing through something. We were talking about, what do you need to release? There's something that you are going to be released and be done with, and all that does is just make room for the next thing. So you might be kind of at the end of a journey here. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Fool card pop up, and maybe not even in this week's reading, but next week, that you've got some new journey on your horizon here. Let's see, in your advice position is the Five of Swords. So the advice is to go ahead and say the things that need to be said. You might hurt some feelings this week with words that are coming out of your mouth, but sometimes things just need to be said. I don't, I Aquarius is usually that person who will say the thing. I don't think it's really a big deal for you to say the thing that needs to be said. It might be a little uncomfortable, maybe, because this is in your advice position. Maybe let's try not to be so completely harsh. When someone needs to hear the truth, you might, I'm kind of sugarcoat it a little bit. Maybe just not be so hard on someone else or yourself if that's you. What is beyond your control this week is kind of reminiscing about the past here with the Six of Cups. It just might be reminders, things, as anytime that you're letting something go, of course, you're thinking about, you're remembering things and having memories of, if you need to release something, you're trying to let it go, but there's also some memories. Some things can be very bittersweet, I guess is the word that I'm looking for. And this is where I see this as kind of the bitter and the sweet, that it is there, but it's time to move on and move on to the next thing for you. What is your secret desire, or what you're trying to avoid, is the Page of Cups. So are you trying to avoid a new path in the way of your emotions? Could be. This could be, you could be maybe wrapping up a relationship here, and you're avoiding that right now. You're just like, I'm not even trying to get back into a relationship. I'm not trying to get back into something else that I love right now. Can I just have a little break from it? Again, bittersweet, and you're just trying to heal from it. So is that your secret desire? For some of you, it might be. So for some of you, you might be like, oh, let's jump right back into it. For some of you, you're like, no, thanks. I'm trying to trying to avoid that right now. And that's okay. Whichever answer comes up for you is fine. It'll be different for different Aquarians. Some people will be ready to jump back in, some maybe not. And again, it could be about a relationship, but it also could just be about maybe some sort of passion thing that you're letting go, that um you're letting go of it. So you don't want to enter back into it at the time. In your outcome position, rest and meditation. This has really been coming up for everybody this week. And I think it's about that moon energy. It's, the waning moon is about releasing, resting, meditating, really going within to think about, where we've been and where we're going. And sometimes just also just quieting your mind so that you can be clear about making those kinds of decisions as you're moving forward in your life. So, what is hidden from you this week at the bottom of the deck is the Knight of Wands. So, this would be any, maybe new action in the realm of passion. So, something that you do know a lot about here with your, the thing that you're very passionate about, but you're wrapping up kind of a segment of that. And maybe it's not quite time to take on the new, the new version of that. That's kind of hidden from you. We might just kind of be, let's wrap up and let's kind of just let the dust settle right before we start new things. Maybe with that Page of Cups as well. Um, it's time for resting and meditating. Again, the new journey, I wouldn't be surprised if you came back in the next week or so and we see a Fool pop out on your reading. Of course, I will forget that by then. You may remind me in the comments, but um, I just don't remember readings. Maybe that makes me a better tarot reader because I don't remember the readings week to week. I have to remind myself, but I do feel like you're heading that way. You're kind of wrapping something up right now. Even it might be something that you've already wrapped up. You're just kind of wrapping up the loose ends emotionally, and mentally, just trying to get to like, okay, I need to be in this new space. So how does this new space feel? What does it look like? You can think about that for a while. All right, let's get a final word here from the Soul Oracle deck. Revive the dormant. Interesting. Revive the dormant. What is that for you? What have you left laying dormant that maybe it is time to revive or at least think about? You might be wanting to think about something that has been dormant for you. Again, I don't think you're taking action on it, but you might be thinking about that this week. What you need to do in the way of self-care, Aquarius. Self-care for Aquarius. I've seen this card pop up this week also. And the card is called Self-Worth. Why settle for crumbs when you deserve a whole meal? Yeah, so you need more than crumbs. You need to think about what exactly that is for you. And what does your whole meal entail? Let's rest and meditate. And kind of, I feel like you're at some sort of ending. And again, if it's not the actual ending this week, it's almost like your mind is at least wrapping around the thought that life has changed. There's some big change for you. Um, but there's kind of an intuitive, like you can feel the reason for it, right? You feel there's like a hope, like, oh, there's a reason this happened. There's a bigger reason. Maybe you don't even quite understand it yet. Usually we don't. You'll get to the point where you will, but you're coming to some sort of ending here, and you just have to like wrap your mind around it. There might not be a lot of action that you're taking this week, but we're just trying to kind of settle it in your mind and open yourself up for possibilities. And again, I wouldn't be surprised to see that Fool card and see you off onto a new journey here in the next couple of weeks. So, Aquarius, thank you so much for being here this week. I do hope there is something in this reading that you can take away and use in a positive way in your own life. If you're comfortable sharing, of course, drop me a comment down below and let me know. If you have questions also, I'd be happy to answer those for you. So, anyway, if you like my reading style, also, if you hit like and subscribe, it really helps me and my channel, and I would appreciate that so much. But more importantly, it'll help you find me next week, and we'll see where this reading and where your story goes. So thanks so much, Aquarius, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.